One Zambia, One Nation. Thank you for joining us on Zanis News. With the news, my name is Faith Katai. The headlines. Government receives 1.4 million doses of cholera vaccines. East PS calls for adherence to CDF implementation guidelines. Central Province residents encouraged to fight climate change. Plus in sports, Chipolopolo boys injury-free ahead of the DRC march. Zanis News in detail. Government has received 1.4 million doses of oral cholera vaccines to help reduce the spread of the disease and further manage the outbreak in the country. Receiving the vaccines, Minister of Health Sylvia Masebo says government will immediately start administering the vaccines, starting with the health workers and the highly affected areas in Lusaka district. And acting United Nations resident coordinator Ceci Bianca has handed over the vaccines and said the United Nations community is particularly concerned with the cholera outbreak in the country. Sarah Miti now reports.
United Nations has handed over cholera vaccines which arrived in the country yesterday to the Ministry of Health in Lusaka. Minister of Health Sylvia Masebo received 1.4 million vaccine doses out of the 1.7 million pledged by the international donor community. Ms. Masebo, upon receiving their consignment, stated that the vaccines will be administered immediately in a phased approach, starting with frontline medical staff to highly affected areas in Lusaka district.
What makes us excited as a ministry is that, first of all, the public have been inquiring. They've been demanding for this cholera vaccine. And it's an easy one to administer because it's oral, so there's no pain in there. And so tomorrow, the Ministry of Health, working together with our partners, will be launching the vaccination drive in the hotspots, starting with Matero, Kanyama, and then, of course, Chawama and O.
Acting United Nations UN Country Resident Coordinator Ceci Bianca, who handed over the vaccines, emphasized the need to address the source of the cholera outbreak, even as vaccines are being administered to avoid reoccurrence.
This outbreak is more severe than others in the recent past, and we are seeing a very high case fertility rate standing at about 4%. A sad fact about the current cholera outbreak is that it is affecting children disproportionately. We know that 52% of all the cases in Zambia are children under the age of 15 years, and 30% of all deaths are among children under the age of 5. Today, as the United Nations, with support from WHO and UNICEF, we are handing over part of the 1.4 million doses of the oral cholera vaccine which arrived in the country yesterday.
Ms. Masebo later announced the cholera situation in the country.
We have recorded 418 new cases in the past 24 hours countrywide. This is slightly lower than yesterday, when we recorded 431 cases. 24 hours, we have discharged 363 patients from the various treatment centers. This is slightly lower than yesterday when we discharged 388 patients, and on Saturday when 400 patients were discharged. We now have 796 patients in admission across the country.
The vaccines will provide 70% immunity of up to 2 years for the double dose and up to 6 months for single doses. Sarah Miti, Zanis News in Lusaka.
The Chinese Embassy, in collaboration with the Association of Chinese Cooperation in Zambia and Power China International, have donated water storage facilities and other items to the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit to help combat the cholera epidemic. Speaking during the handover, Chancellor of the Embassy of China, Wang Xing, said the donated items will help provide clean and safe drinking water to over 42,000 people. Jen Simalumba has details in the following report.
In the continued fight against the cholera epidemic, different stakeholders have continued coming on board to partner with government in the fight against the disease. The Chinese Embassy, working with the Association of Chinese Cooperation in Zambia and the Power China International, have come on board and have donated water tanks. In addition, the Chinese have also donated a water bowser that will be supplying clean and safe drinking water to the people.
Have donated water tanks with a capacity 210 tons daily to provide clean and safe water to 42,000 local people every day. They have also provided water pipes, concrete bases for the water tank installation, and an all-day standby transportation truck.
These are not the only donations the Chinese have made.
In other districts, we offer some equipment for the drainage and the water supply. So the association has collected the data how many equipments we can use to do the water supply, the drainage, and something like this. So we are ready, and we can do more things.
DMMU coordinator Dr. Gabrielle Pollen received the donation on behalf of government and thanked the Chinese delegation for the timely gesture.
So I want to assure you today that the donations we have received today will be prudently and judiciously managed so that intended beneficiaries can benefit from this donation. As government, we are mounting over 240 tanks across the different hospital areas. So this would mean that we'll be delivering at least 2.4 million liters of water. So your contribution of at least 210,000 liters of water is quite commendable, and we appreciate that that's going to be an undertaking that we can.
Jane Simalumba Zanis in Lusaka.
Newly recruited health workers in Mchinga province have thanked government for creating employment and according them an opportunity to work in the civil service. The health workers talked to said they have been working as volunteers in various health centers in the province. The newly employed health workers say this when the Civil Service Commission, led by the acting chairperson, Jolwe Beani, toured various health facilities in the province. Here's a report.
January 8, 2024 was the deadline set for newly recruited 3,000 health workers to report at their respective duty stations across the country. Hagai Monsa, a male-registered nurse, who is also one of the newly employed health personnel at Chinsali District Hospital, has commended President Hakainde Hichilema for the gesture.
I thank the head of state, His Excellency Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, for this wonderful program is putting in place of recruiting civil servants, more especially in health workers and in the education sector.
Eli Kalufasi, a clinical officer general at Tazara Rural Health Center in Impika, and others are elated by the opportunity to work in the civil service.
We want and wish to show our gratitude on the opportunity given to us.
Which I'm expecting that a lot of people are going to benefit from this opportunity that the government has given me.
I really thank the government for this employment. At least it will change my life.
The Civil Service Commission, led by its acting chairperson, Dr. Jolwe Beani, was in Mchinga province to appreciate the arrivals of the newly recruited civil servants at their respective duty stations.
We want you to be the vanguard of change, the vanguard of professionalism, so that you can carry the name of the commission, the name of your profession, the name of your country, the name of your president to higher heights.
District commissioners are happy too and request for more.
The recruitment that went on, the one recently, was very good, and I would say thank you so much for the work done as a team. We did a good job, but we need more staffs.
Lou Majila, reporting in Mchinga.
On the Copper Belt province, with a continued escalating number of cholera cases in the country, Masaiti district has held a stakeholders epidemic preparedness meeting to find better ways of ensuring the disease is prevented from spreading into the area. The district, being a transit area on the Copper Belt from other provinces, has so far not recorded any cholera case. Kwanchi Nchanda has the details in the following report.
Different stakeholders from various parts of Masaiti district have come together to find ways of combating the spread of cholera in the district. During the meeting organized by the Ministry of Health in Masaiti, the district health director has called for concerted efforts from all players in the district if the fight is to be won.
Masaiti district has not recorded any confirmed case of cholera. We had one suspected case, which by God's grace was negative for cholera. We need to, as partners, plan and prepare for a possible outbreak of the disease in our district. Hence the reason why we were all invited to this meeting. As you may be aware, cholera is a disease characterized by sudden onset of vomiting and watery diarrhea in a person who has been exposed to the bacteria by ingestion or through the oral cavity, and can easily cause death within a few hours.
Masaiti District Commissioner Eni Matutu says the traditional leadership play a critical role in the fight against cholera outbreak in the district.
The traditional councillors, you have the people. Most of the time, our rural people, balikwete ichakukanika, impindi onsirani kwaisa amalwele, balabani kutalika, kanitwa kwa taba kuhewo tseni balete chintu ichabukumu. Pano ili chitikefyo, they are the ones who suffer. Mulisha abantu besu, they go to markets in town, they go to Rwansha, they go to Ndola. That's why they bring problems. Pano, but my traditional councillors, it's your responsibility. Healthy. Respond positively.
And the traditional leadership has pledged to support the efforts of government.
Alikufuapo infwa ishoisha kufa kwa tinikolera kwati malwela ya shala au tulefuwa tuikatani nepamu lero pamula ndi wakubulo yetu akwata twamfwa ne kuchita emphasize ifi mwalabira kwebati cha chine mulimo wesu iyo tulekwa tokutatikale lokena kuntangire kwebati ili twakwata ama meeting ili twakwata efiriro neri pakula bilafe ne bantu tulechita emphasize na fwebo kwebati
Nkwachi Chanda, Zanis, Masaiti district.
We take our first break. We have more news on the health desk.
Kodi kolera ndi chani?
Kolera ndi matenda othulula. Munthu amene adwala matenda ya kolera amathulula kwambiri ndi kusanza. Dothi lake limakhala ngati madzi momwe atsukira mpunga. Ndipo munthu odwala kolera madzi mthupi lake amatha kamba kakuti iye amachoka kwambiri kupyolera mkusanza ndi kuthulula kwambiri. Munthu odwala kolera angamwalire m'maola 12 kaya kuti 12 hours ngati sanalandire mwamsanga thandizo la mankhwala.
Kodi munthu angatengere motani matenda a kolera?
Kumwa madzi adothi, kudya zakudya ndi m'manja mosasamba mwadothi kapena kugwiritsa ntchito mbale zotsukiwa ndi madzi adothi. Kudya zakudya zimene zinangosiwa mosasamala posabwinikira. Kudya zakudya zozizira zachimbala zimene sizinasungiwa bwino. Kudya zakudya zimene amagulitsa mphepete mwa misewu. Kudya zipatso ndi ndiwo zamasamba zosatsuka.
Kodi kolera ingachinjiriziwe?
Gadusani madzi anu akumwa kapena kugwiritsa ntchito chlorine. Sambani m'manja ndi madzi aukhondo ndi sopo mukamaliza kugwiritsa ntchito chimbudzi. Funditsani zakudya mukalibe kuyamba kudya. Osadya zakudya zimene zimagulitsiwa mphepete mwa misewu. Muyenera kubwinikira zakudya kuopetsa kuti ntchentche zingakakeko. Nthawi zonse muyenera kugwiritsa ntchito chimbudzi. Pewani kugwiritsa ntchito machemba kapena maplastiki ngati chimbudzi. Onani kuti dothi litayiwa mchimbudzi. Nthawi zonse onani kuti zimbuzi zikhala zaukhondo ndipo nthawi zonse pambowa wa chimbudzi chanu pazikhala pobwinikira bwinobwino. Okubweretsani uthenga uyu ndi aunduna wa zaumoyo.
Welcome back. We continue with the news. Eastern Province Permanent Secretary Paul Tole says that the Constituency Development Fund committees must adhere to the presidential directives to approve projects that satisfy expectations of beneficiary communities. Speaking when he handed over a 1x2 classroom block at Mulalwa Primary School in Petauke Central Constituency built under the CDF, Mr. Tole was not happy to discover the new infrastructure was built without flushable toilets for pupils and teachers' houses. Details in the following report.
This is a new 1x2 classroom block built at Mulawa Primary School in Petoke constituents under the 2022 Constituents Development Fund, meant to alleviate the shortage of classroom accommodation. But this new infrastructure has been constructed without teachers' houses and toilets for pupils, let alone water supply. And this has disturbed Eastern Province Permanent Secretary Paul Tole, who has commissioned the classroom block.
Ichi niye chatugogomesha president vanogogomesha kuti tikambomanga ivi vintu tikovimanga kuti tikasirisha niye kuti ng'anda ya ticha ilipo tieni tuone kuti pomanga tikasirisha na madeski alimo mkati tikatero niye kuti tawatandiza wana vasu kuti akule apate mapunziro mokwanira. Tiri pakati pa korera ni nkhani ya udongo. Tikasowa manzi tuosha our hands, korera. Tikasowa proper facilities where we can go and help ourselves, korera.
The Ministry of Education is equally worried with the development.
As long as it remains like this in isolation, it will be vandalized. It will be a wasted investment. Please, I'm appealing. Where we are putting up schools, can we look at who is the caretaker there? Where will they be? Manzi, ma toilets kopitavana. Just mamne kumbuyo mwaona kuli toilet imozi against 296. Now it's a pit latrine.
But Petoke Member of Parliament Emmanuel Banda has an explanation.
Bantu kuno benza bechimbwa president pechirabira kuti vantu mwezi ndalama za CDF zapasiwa ku office ya MP mukonkhala mweka nona mweka vamufuna kuti zimuchitireni ndalama osati kuti kuchitofosingiwa kuti yayi apalomba mangani vimbuzi hivi vochitoflashinga or vachinji. Those health center with flushable toilet, they will come later on. Vikawere bwino tukokia tuchita upgrade kandalama tikakawera tachitako upgrade.
Meanwhile, Petoke Council Secretary has promised not to fail government in the implementation of CDF projects in the year 2024.
And the issue of speed is top of our agenda. We really need to expedite these works to ensure that the services which benefits which come with CDF accrue to the many of our people.
Loba Simtafela, Zanis, Petoke District, Eastern Province.
Luapula Province Minister Njava Simutowe says government is committed to completing all stalled projects in the province. Mr. Simutowe was speaking in Mwansabombwe district when he toured the civic center and district administration blocks which have been abandoned by contractors. More in the following report.
This is a civic center and the district administration block in Mwansabombwe district. From afar, the buildings look nice, but a closer look reveals the opposite. The office blocks have been vandalized despite reaching above 80% complete, and the contractors have since disappeared. Luapula Province Minister Njava Simutowe, who was on a familiarization tour of the province, took time to check on the vandalized buildings.
What we have found out is that people have vandalized everything. These buildings reached up to 80%, but the current status, it depicts that people have continued vandalizing these things that were done by a certain contractor, and the government, in a time, all these buildings that are abandoned were about to start the building so that we can finish up, so that we can be start helping the people of Mwansabombwe.
The local authority has since put up measures to protect the buildings from further damage.
We've engaged some people who are manning the place to ensure that vandalism does not continue from where it is. Right now, we possess the place. All we are waiting for is for the contractors to get back on site and start the works.
Once the structures are completed, we'll provide a conducive working place for the officers who are currently using rented houses for office operations. Lewis Changwe, Zanis, Mwansabombwe, Luapula Province.
Lewis, thank you for that report. Still on infrastructure news, Manyanga District Commissioner Brenda Mukwakwa has called on traders in the area to embrace the newly constructed market for their trading operations. Ms. Mukwakwa says the government continues to strive hard to ensure traders operate in a clean, safe and conducive environment. She said this when she led Information and Media Director spokesperson Henry Kapata on a tour of Constituency Development Fund projects in the area. Muichech Boya has the following in the following report.
Habitable trading infrastructure is essential in the delivery of quality and healthy food products. In ensuring marketeers trade in a clean and conducive environment, a market is under construction in Kasamba area of Manyanga district.
Encouraging our communities to come and operate from the market itself than just working from the outside the market. Kasamba people, you must be proud of this market because you are the owners. And you should also look after this property because it is your property. Let us avoid vandalizing this market.
Information and Media Director spokesperson Henry Kapata is in the district to inspect CDF projects being implemented.
We will try through the Ministry of Small and Medium Enterprises, perhaps to introduce the booster loans and marketeer booster loans, so that those that are on the streets can be attracted to come and start trading in the market. Yes, that is the interest of government, so that people are not vending, but they start trading in designated places. In this case, this market that looks much more modern. Okay.
Traders have expressed gratitude for the gesture.
Twasakulirako hakututungilako market sopani kuyanda kutwama mumwalwa business yatize kwenda chakwihi momo wa mwalwa tukunjilani kuyaya bala unonya zetu nalanisa mveranda tushini kusuluka atize mazitungira market unonzweva kanawa
nasakulira hakainde hichilema hakutuhana ko mali mangana tuzachise market yetu anatuwaishlayo.
The contractor has disclosed that the structure is near completion and will be handed over soon. Muichech Boya reporting for Zanis, Manyanga District, Northwestern Province.
In Central Province, Deputy Provincial Permanent Secretary Geoffrey Chitambala has challenged the people in the region to embrace a culture of planting trees in order to mitigate climate change. Mr. Chitambala says it is the desire of the government that everyone must get involved in the restoration of forests amid effects of climate change. Speaking during the launch of the provincial tree planting at Wayu Farm, Mr. Chitambala observed that deforestation has resulted in unpredictable climate conditions. Details in the following report.
Planting is an annual activity that is done during the rainy season for stability and establishing the growth of trees planted. Central Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Geoffrey Chitambala graced this year's activity in Kabwe.
We've suffered setbacks in terms of the climate change, so we feel that each and every person must participate in the restoration of the trees which are being cut mercilessly, and that has given us, as a continent, the bad weather. Sometimes we don't have enough rains. When the rains fall, we have flood and stuff. That's a negative effect on climate change.
Provincial Forestry Officer Odilia Longe encouraged farmers to diversify into tree planting as a source of income.
So it comes in tandem with the theme, because he wants these trees for business opportunity, to venture into tree planting as a business opportunity, whilst he already has a banana plantation, which already he's ventured in, which is talking about food security. So we see that the integration is very good, and we want to, just encourage such interventions. And we want more farmers to come on board to do on-farm tree planting, which we call on-farm tree planting.
Education Officer at Wildlife and Environmental Conservation Society of Zambia, Kabwe Branch, Levi Chinyimba, emphasized the role of trees in holding oxygen in the air.
We very much support the planting of trees because we know that trees are a carbon sink.
Once you cut a tree, a standing tree, the way you are seeing standing, it has a lot of carbon in it. Once you cut it, then carbon dioxide disappears and goes into the atmosphere, which is a very serious greenhouse gas.
Wayu farm owner and host of the event, Kizito Nanguziambo, says messages that were churned out by radio stations and the government inspired him to diversify into tree planting.
I rear pigs here, and I also grow bananas, as you have seen. So from there, I said, let me diversify, because I've been getting a lot of education from the radio, the forest department. I've been preaching about the importance of trees and so on.
Zanis reports in Kabwe, Central Province.
Northwestern Province Minister Robert Lihefu has refuted claims by Musaka Ward Development Committee member-in-chief Musaka's area in Mushindamo district that only one CDF project has been implemented in the chiefdom. Mr. Lihefu says the district is vast and that he has witnessed a number of projects that have been successfully implemented in the area. In an interview with Zanis, the minister said he is not aware of the places that CDF has not reached in the district. He explained that a number of projects are currently being implemented in Mushindamo, adding that the district council has further procured earth-moving equipment to help with the implementation process. Earlier, Ward Development Committee member-in-chief Musaka's chiefdom, Benson Mwela, alleged that only one project has been implemented in the area under CDF since it was increased in 2021. Mr. Mwela claimed that the only project that has been implemented in the chiefdom is the construction of a 1x3 classroom block at Yowera Secondary School.
CDF waengi areperera fe kuba nesu kumuseba kuno fwe na Musaka kuno takuri abarekita benefit ne kono ndefu aya ngipushe ngishibo kwe bati CDF ya kwakarirere nangu CDF ya Mushindamo district pantu kuno kwesu kunani kwa Musaka na kwa Jikora shirefi mona po finone.
No, Mushindamo is vast. Because I've witnessed, I'm one of a person who has been supervising CDF the whole province, and I've seen a number of things that has been done here in Mushindamo district, and I've seen that a number of infrastructure being commissioned just here in Mushindamo district.
We take you back to Muchinga province. Beneficiaries of social cash transfer in Nakonde district have praised government for the initiative of helping the less privileged in society. Take a look at this report.
A beneficiary from Nakonde district has praised government for the social protection programs. Gift Chewe, a 35-year-old physically challenged person, has been receiving the social cash transfer, which has helped him to buy a house.
Mikuitatui then ni fiafine na bomba kuna tumbi na ocha ko tumala shafi yafine na lesunga mkwaye kusashitenga nde mkwaye na ka plot fie mkwaye.
Suelwa Bedo, a 21-year-old beneficiary, has been receiving farming inputs under the social protection programs under the Food Security Pack.
Ku salisha kuteko e program yo inawaletea kupoka fertilizer ya musanya ya kulima magadeni then fertilizer kutwavulira like sweswe mayuthi mu tukuzange twalima tukuchita ko benefit vintu bivule nkani nyene.
He also explained that he started receiving support under crop farming. However, this has resulted in him buying 2 motorbikes.
Nizile inkara yonda kutalichira pona kale yonda kutalichira nizili mpako no mendo wenga ayo papo pona pano mendo wenga wateka kunjavugiriza tekwa vugirizgani amiombere tukana na kuvyalo then apo impindio yo tulipo ayo tuzetko po 2023 ma wetland mo po tuzetko pake ya mchisanye fertilizer niza nakala na yo inji yo nomba yo tukumpomja nomba.
Meanwhile, Danford Munjile highlights some of the success stories in the province.
we had visited one of very young gentleman. I think he's aged 21. He completed school, straight from school. He had nothing to do, and he was put on the program. He was able to purchase a motorcycle after harvesting and selling his produce in the first year. In the second year, he was able again to purchase another motorcycle. As you can see in Nakonde district, transport business is very viable business, especially where it concerns motorcycles. So he was able also to employ one person who rides one motorcycle, and he continues also to ride the other motorcycle. We are looking at a potential employer in near years to come, because this gentleman will continue growing.
Alice Banda, reporting for Zanis in Nakonde District, Muchinga Province.
We take another break. More stories when we return. Stay tuned.
Kolela ichumanyi. Kolela hi musongo wa kuhitisha. Muntu una kwachiki kumsongo wa kolela ukukata musongo wa kuhitisha na kusanza. Muntu yeniwo wahitisha nga menji adine imenji alosu. Muyeji ukuma menji mu mujimba windi mulonga wa kushweza kuhitisha menji amavulu. Muyeji na chwechu kufwa muji ora 10 na jiyadi ne ikutambula kukewa kwa kubula kulumbuluka. Injilanyi mwakutambwila musongo wakapota munene ikolela. Kuna menji akubula kushewa ichumbu hela menji amajilu. Kuda yakukwata na makasa amajilu hela kukosa yenga na menji amajilu. Kuda yakubula kubutewa hana kuwila anjinji. Kuda infuta yichuta inabuli kuhembewa chubwahi. Kuda inakulandishewa kunsanyi kwa. Injilanyi ya ukangechela musongo wakapota munene kolela. Bwakati shenu menji enu akunwa, hela shenu mu yichumbu ya chlorine. Wela enu kumakasa enu na mulola, na kuwela nawa kumakasa hanyuma ya kuzacha chimbushu. Tati shenu ya kuda heno kanda muyidi. Bai kuda inakulandishewa kunsanyi kwa. Zatisheni chimbushu mpindi yejima, bai kuzatisha nyingomu, hela ipepa la yanjunju, muna mwakunatila malabishi. Mwanene nenu anju anakudukwashila kuyimbushu. Hembeni chimbushu cha unyonji, nawa china kubutewa. Insangu yinu anaileteliyu kudi akamtayi waipatela.
Back to Eastern Province. Some community members of Kaluma area in Chadiza district are using a school borehole due to lack of adequate water resources. Donat Piri, deputy head of Kaluma Primary School, says over 222 children are currently dependent on the same borehole against over 50 households. Jubel Zulu has more in the following report.
This is Kaluma Primary School. Due to lack of adequate water sources, the community is forced to share the borehole belonging to the school. The school wants to protect the borehole for the good of the school-going children.
The community, it has got a lot of people surrounding it, so it works a lot. As a result, it usually, the water usually goes down, the water table, as it goes down, the pump system does not pump the way we expect it.
Measures have been put in place.
The measures that we have put in place, in case maybe it is broken down once more, is that we have started, negotiating with the community so that we should be contributing something towards maintenance of the same borehole in case this borehole breaks down in future.
Jubel Zulu, Zanis, Chadiza District, Eastern Province.
And finally, Football Association of Zambia Communications Manager Sydney Mungala says The Chipolopolo boys have no injury concerns ahead of their opening Group F encounter against the Democratic Republic of Congo at the ongoing Africa Cup of Nations AFCON in Ivory Coast. Mungala has assured that the players in the squad are medically fit and are preparing well for the match. Speaking in an interview with Zanis Sports, Mungala said the team has already undergone the pre-match formalities that include medicals. He said the technical team is expecting the squad to be ready for the match on Wednesday. Mungala added that the team is determined to make an impact at their first tournament after missing out on the least 3 editions. He has since urged the fans to support the team.
We just wish to appeal to the Zambian public to support the team. We haven't been to the AFCON for the last 3 editions, and we hope that we can make this particular one count. And I think the boys are more determined to make this opportunity count. You know that they've won the AFCON at under 20 level in 2017. They played at the AFCON in under 23 level in 2019. So one of the missing pieces was the AFCON men, and we believe that all the efforts that we've done to just help prepare the team point to actually giving the team the best possible preparatory mode. So for now, everything is okay, and the team is medically fit. So we hope that we can have a good opening match on Wednesday against Congo DR.
That sport item brings us to the end of the news. But before we go, let's take a look at the stories that made headlines. Government receives 1.4 million doses of cholera vaccines. East PS calls for adherence to CDF implementation guidelines. Central Province residents encouraged to fight climate change. Plus in sports, Chipolopolo boys injury-free ahead of the DRC march. That is all we packaged for you on Zanis News. Remember, cholera is real. Let's take preventive measures. Have a pleasant viewing.